Hello, welcome to episode 5 of the Lindsay B Crafts podcast. I am Lindsay. I'm coming to you from a sunny but cold Wells, Maine today. We've got some nice light coming through the window and it's been a little while since we chatted, so I figured we could sit down and catch up today. So if you are a new viewer, thank you very much for checking me out. If you're returning, thank you for coming back to hang out with me. So what's been going on since we last talked? For me, it's been mostly work. I did have a week of vacation last week, so that was nice. My husband and I went up to Camden, which is one of our favorite spots to visit. It's this cute little coastal village with a really nice yarn shop, the Cashmere Goat. So if you're ever in the area, you should definitely check them out. It's just a really nice place to kind of walk around. There's some good bakeries as well in the Rockland and Rockport area. And it's just kind of nice to get away once in a while. Other than that, I've been knitting up a storm. I feel like I have a lot of finished objects to share today. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So object number 1 is the Snuggle socks, which I was working on last time, trying to finish in time for my husband's birthday, and I did. I'll throw a picture of them up here because he's been wearing them a lot and they're kind of, you know, worn looking and a little dusty, so I'm not gonna go grab those. I'm not gonna subject you to that, but I did finish them, not just in time, but early. So yay me. Hitting deadlines is not always my forte, but I do my best, especially when they're important. Yeah, what else? So he loves them. They came out okay, but guess what I did again? Remember that conversation we had about writing things down because you might think you'll remember them, but you won't. I knit the second sock on a different needle size, which will be apparent in the picture because one is significantly, well, not significantly, but noticeably wider than the other. I did offer to reknit them and he said he didn't care, which is fine by me because I really didn't want to reknit them. But yeah, so yay. Since then though, I've been making a really strong attempt to make sure I log things on my Ravelry project page, which like I usually don't update any of that until I have a finished object. I'll go in and I'll like put everything down. In the past, I haven't really messed with adding like needle sizes or what I got for my gauge, things like that. I usually just throw up my pictures there. But I'm really making a conscious effort to put things there so that in the future, if I want to know what needle size I used with a particular yarn, or if I'm knitting a second sock or second mitten, I can easily see which needles I ended up using. Because honestly, I'm sick of screwing things up. It's a lot of time and effort to not be a little bit more careful, I guess, about making sure I note these things down. So write that shit down because I didn't, and now I'm sad. So those are the Snuggle socks. Just as a reminder, that is a Maxim seer pattern. I knit it in the Farmer's Daughter Fibre, Squish DK, as well as their Surrey Alpaca, which is called Odang. And other than the needle size debacle, they came out really nice. Next, I finally cast on and finished my second Aslaug mitt, and they're even blocked for me to show you. So these are a Skeindeer pattern. They were the first installment of her latest Nordic Mitten Club. These are knit in a DK weight yarn. They are from the Green Mountain Spinnery. The lighter color is called White Wedding, and the bluey, greenish blue teal color is called Atlantis. So it's like a teal and a natural base, essentially. where's my, it's showing up like a little bit more yellow than it actually is, but so the way that Skeindeer sizes her mittens is you don't change stitch count for different sizes, you adjust your needle size. So I was going for the 3rd size out of the 4 in the pattern, but I ended up with my gauge getting the 2nd size, which is fine. They're a little bit smaller than I wanted them, but they still fit. They're actually really nice. This yarn is really soft and springy. It is a little bit thick and thin in the way that it's spun, so that can definitely affect how your stitches look. It kind of gives it more of like almost a hand spun effect every so often, but I think they came out pretty nice. And I did write down which needle size I used on my Ravelry project page. I am wondering though if my yarn dominance, color dominance was not always consistent, because if you look at these, this one, the blue is showing up in the top half way more than on this one. You see that? It's very, it like pops out at you, it like hits you in the face. Whereas this one, it's more balanced, or the white is more prominent. I don't know. So this is either due to color dominance, or perhaps it's because some of the yarn was going into like thicker spots and the stitches just came out bigger. I'm not sure, but I'm very happy with them overall. Picking up for the thumbs was not my favorite part. I tried really hard to not have holes, and this one came out like almost perfect. This one, I have a little bit more of a gap right in there, but it doesn't really bother me. I can always go in and sew it up if I really want to. Other side's not bad. I just need more practice. I haven't really, these are probably the first pair of mittens I've ever really made, so I enjoyed it. Following the chart was pretty fun. I really liked the design. I also screwed up on the thumbs, so you can see that the pattern is slightly different on this one. That's because I messed something up somewhere. So this is real knitting, people, okay? No perfection here. You will probably find some grievous error in everything that I make, and I'm okay with sharing that with you, because hopefully it will make you feel better about the things that are grievous errors to you, which, let's be honest, in the long run and in the grand scheme of things, none of our errors are that bad. So those are my Aslaug mittens. Yeah, it's getting colder, so these will definitely come in handy. What is next? Yes, my hat. My honeycomb hat. I finished it. You still can't really see the pattern all that well on this yarn. I haven't woven in the ends yet, but I did block it. I'm really happy with it. Yeah, this was knit in Wensleydale Longwool that I purchased from Ross Farms. So it's a farm yarn. I guess the Wensleydale is kind of one of those rarer sheep that's not necessarily on the up and up. So if I remember correctly, this yarn was actually part of the Shave 'em to Save 'em program, which I'm not entirely sure, but I think the gist of it is that it's kind of to help promote and support farms that have these like rare breed sheep and are trying to essentially propagate them. I don't know if that's the right word, but like breed them and keep them from going extinct, essentially. At least that's what I think. I'll try to find more information and I will link that in the show notes if you're interested. But yeah, I really like the wool. It's really drapey. I have a bunch left. I think this was a sport weight and it only took like half a skein. Well, I don't know. I didn't weigh it, but I have this much left. So that's at least, if not half, it's a third. It's a good amount left. I'm not sure what I will do with it. But just as a reminder, this was like basically one of their natural colors. It's got a really nice sheen on it. It's shiny like silk, it's drapey like silk, it's got a nice halo. And despite the fact that you can't entirely see, well, I guess the way the light's hitting it, you can actually see it a little bit better. But when I look at this, even in front of my face, it's hard for me to see the honeycomb pattern, which was a little bit disappointing. But I just took that as a lesson in basically yarn and pattern pairing. So in the future, I won't use a Longwool with a very subtle, like 1/1 twisted cable pattern. I won't do that again. So now I know. Lesson learned. But I'm really happy with it. The brim's a little scratchy because of the halo, but I expect that the more I wear it, the more that will kind of like wear and soften and not be so bothersome, or I'll just get used to it, I guess. I don't know. This should be fine. But yeah, if I didn't, I don't know if I said it correctly. This is the Beeswax Hat by Amy Vandelar. It's been around for a little bit and it was really popular, I think, at one point. And oh yeah, look at that. It's subtle, but it's there. You can see. I actually had a lot of fun knitting this pattern. I finished it in our hotel room when we went to visit Camden on Friday night. I stayed up way past my bedtime until like 10 or 10:30, just trying to do the final decreases on this. And then I wore it on the way home because there was some heckin' wind when we left the next day. And it was cold, and I was very happy to have this lovely hat. It's got a little bit of a slouch on it, but not too much, just enough to be kind of roomy. If I had more hair, it would fit a little bit more hair in there, but yeah, I really like it. I think it's great. All right, what is next? There's our hat. There's our mittens. We talked about the socks. Those are the finished objects. I have a half object. Yeah, I have just one. So I meant to take a quick peek and see who the designer for this pattern was, but I forgot to, so I will definitely link that in the show notes. But if you recall, actually I don't remember if I've ever shown these or not, but I started a pair of socks, DK weight socks, a while ago. This is the laid edges pattern, so it's just kind of it's a mostly vanilla DK sock pattern, but it has this nice little like slip stitch cable on the side here. It goes all the way down to the toe, so basic but with a little bit of interest. This is the DK 75% merino, 15% nylon yarn by Arcane Fiberworks. They are a Canadian-based company. This guy dyes yarn based off of these like really beautiful, vivid photographs, and he is damn good at it. Like, I've never seen things match so closely. Like, there's a few people out there that can do it really well. Like, one of them I think is the Blue Brick. They also dye based on photography sometimes, but Arcane Fiberworks, this guy's got it going on. So this is called Heart of the Forest. It's a variegated like green and taupey brown with like some sort of like beigey natural flecks in it. And it is so soft. Like, if I didn't know that this was just a merino, wool, and nylon, I would think that it had cashmere in it, potentially. It is soft, excuse me, it is squishy, it is nice and springy. I love this yarn. My husband Eric actually purchased this. He was taken in by one of the Facebook ads, like back when they used to put like ads scrolling across the page. I don't think Facebook's set up like that anymore, but yeah, he scrolled past it and he didn't really know what he was doing when it comes to yarn buying, so he just bought like 3 skeins of DK and was like, here, now you can knit something for me. I was like, thank you. So I was like, well, what the heck am I gonna make with 3 skeins of DK yarn? It's not enough for a sweater, it's like too much for a hat. So I settled on socks, and this took up actually most of one skein. So I have that much left. I'll probably need to break into a second skein to do the second one. And I think with the third one, I just might make myself something. So we'll have matching socks and be the most vomit-inducing, adorable couple in the world. So, yeah, we're weird like that. So I have one of his old plaid shirts, and sometimes we just intentionally wear them at the same time just to be weird, and people ask us if we were like posing for Christmas cards or something, and we're just like, no, we're just fucking weird. So there's my half object. Okay, so the next two things that I have are Skeindeer patterns, because apparently I'm just gonna knit Skeindeer for the rest of my life. I don't know, I tend to be drawn to her stuff and I can't help myself. So one of them is from the mystery knit along. So if you are not up to date through clue 4, I believe it is, you're gonna want to look away. Let me tell you a little bit about it first. We're doing a mystery mitten knit along that is holiday themed. So a couple times a week she releases another clue. So we started with the cuff, and then we got some clues for like the main part of the mitten and some charts. And I'd say we're almost to the end of the first mitten, and then I'll just have a second one to knit. This is knit in Rauma Finull, which is like a Finnish wool. It's a really nice, like sheepy, kind of crunchy, but not too rough actually. I find this to be quite soft as far as like an unprocessed wool goes. It's a little prickly against like my face, but it's like if I put it on my arm, it really doesn't feel too bad. And the mittens actually feel really nice when they're all knitted up together. So the colors that I am using are this really nice dark like blood red. This is blowing out a little more brick on camera, but it is actually super dark. It almost looks like it has like a blackish marl coming through it, where maybe the like darker natural parts of the wool kind of soaked up the dye differently. So trying to get it more true to color. You'll just have to trust me. This is a really dark and beautiful red, and I'm not like a red person, but I am really drawn to this. Like I almost want a sweater in it, but I don't know if I would wear a sweater this color that often. So I'm using this red, and I'm using this gray color. So it might appear white to you, but when in contrast with this, you can see that it's actually a very light, very cool gray. So it's like if you took a natural but made it just a hair darker by mixing in some like darker natural sheep in it. I don't know how to explain it. It's weird, but I'm going to show the mitten now. So if you're not caught up through clue 4 and you don't want to see it, look away now. If you don't care, here it comes. 3, 2, 1. So to be honest, I'm not really a holiday person. I don't really enjoy celebrating Christmas. Like it doesn't really resonate with me. I think it's a very consumerist holiday, and it just honestly kind of makes me sad. But I can get down with some festive yarns and a tree and lights and things like that. So we have these little guys here at the bottom. I'm not going to be too descriptive about them just in case anyone's looking away right now. I really enjoyed learning this technique, although it was a pain in the butt, but I love the look of it. It's the first time I've ever done this particular thing. We've got this nice cuff here. This is the palm of the mitten here. And then we have these nice little pictures on the front. So yeah, if I put it on, again, I did not get the size that I was going for, but I can now, I think, figure out what needles I would need to get the size that I want in the future when using this yarn, doing this type of knitting. So, but again, it's a little bit smaller than I would like. And I think we are just about ready to do the final little decreases here. So yeah, really happy with it. It makes me happy. I actually really like how the colors came out. I wasn't sure how the red and the gray would look together, but I really like how it's not like super bright white and it's more of like a cool, like almost silvery effect. But yeah, hopefully we've already had one clue this week, so maybe there will be another coming soon. I can get to work on that. All right, look back. I've hit it if you were looking away. All right, and then my next Skeindeer pattern is a similar thing, except this is going to be a fingerless mitt. We have the Yggdrasil mitts, which is kind of similar to her mitten patterns, but it won't have a top and it will just have an open thumb. Haven't gotten very far on it yet, but it was a lot of ribbing to start with. My colors are going to be this gray, and then this will be the contrasting color number 1, so this nice darker gray and this green. And then you need a third color for like some little details. So I have this little nib from Fjord Fibers. They're based out of Norway. This is their troll sock base, I believe. But I'm pretty sure that it's essentially the same exact yarn, except I think this one has some polyamide in it, which is kind of the same as nylon, but I don't know if it's just a different name or if it's a different substance, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's this nice like purpley and red variegated color. I just thought these three looked really good together. I know it doesn't contrast super well with the green, but it's literally only for 2 parts of the mitten. So the first part is you just have like this stripe at the bottom. So you do a stripe of green and then a stripe of the other contrasting color and then another stripe. And then it will be again at the top, kind of in a similar fashion where it's just in there as like a little bit of a pop of different color. So yeah, if I put this on, super cozy. Oh, and the other yarns, those are just more Rauma Finull. I don't know what colors they are because all of their colors are numbers and I don't really remember. So if I can find the ball bands, I will. If not, you'll just have to guess. So that's my Yggdrasil mitt so far. I'm really excited to have those finished because, like I said, it's getting colder. It snowed a little bit last night and I was super stoked to wake up and see just white stuff covering the yard. So. Okay, what else? I'm gonna take this off. I'm getting a little hot. This is my Troll Tin sweater. I don't think I've ever worn it on the podcast before, but I had to fix the sleeve on it a few weeks ago because I broke the hem, so I had to re-knit this cuff, which thankfully didn't take long because it's like chunky wool. But I didn't even bother blocking it, so you can see that it's still like the ribbing still pops out a little bit, but I'm just like, what the hell? I wear it so much, it'll eventually like work itself out. Or maybe at some point I'll just like soak it and get it wet and whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I love this thing, but I started off a little chilly and now I think I'm warmed up, so off it goes. And this shawl, by the way, this is a Hoki Locatelli shawl. It is Storm, yep. So I made this in fiber optic yarn. It's one of their like unified gradient skeins. And their fingering weight, it was like a MCN, so merino cashmere nylon, I'm pretty sure. The gradient was called damson to gold, so damson being the bottom part here, gold being at the top. Gauge was off, so I don't think it came out as big as it should have, but it's still very wearable. I really like the shape. The drop stitches were very interesting. I'd never done drop stitches before, so I learned all about that. I think it came out really well. These colors are my jam. If I could have a sweater in like one of these gold colors here, I would be the happiest camper because it is gorgeous. Apparently we have an accent now. I mean, technically everyone has an accent, but you know what I mean. All right, my last whip. I know you've been waiting for it. And no, I could have had it finished, but I didn't have it finished because I got distracted and bored and I just did not want to look at it. But we're on the home stretch. What am I talking about, you might ask? It's the breathing space. We are so close. We have an entire sleeve. Look at that. We're just missing one sleeve. One of the reasons I put this off was because I need to wind yarn for this second sleeve because I finally ran out of my original skeins. So I finally did that this morning. I even put the stitches that were on waste yarn onto a needle. So now I like have no excuses. So I need to just start working on it, even if it's little by little, because unfortunately it's not going to knit itself. And as sick as I am of working on this thing, I really want to wear it. So technically I could wear it with just one sleeve, but I don't really think that's in fashion these days, so I'm not going to try it. But yeah, it's done-ish. I mean, I feel like it's done. I'm done. I'm over it. Don't get me wrong, I love this sweater. I love the way it looks. I like the way it fits. I can't wait to block it because I feel like that will loosen up a little of like the tight spots, because I feel like this raglan seam here is like kind of right up in my armpit and I'm not sure how I feel about that. But I think once I block it, things will relax a little bit. It'll be a little more drapey. So looking forward to finishing and wearing this, and perhaps it will be the star of my wardrobe on our next episode together. So fingers crossed. I gotta get cracking on this. I gotta just do it. Also, it's a 3/4 sleeve, so how bad can it possibly be? Seriously. And since I have one done, I can just count down my stripes. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna get done. It's gonna get done. Again, this is a pattern by Veera Välimäki. It is knit in Megs & Co. Cormorant. And then my stripes here are Mooneater by Dragon Hoard yarn. They are both it's either an 85/15 or a 75/25. It's a sock yarn, so very good, very light. I run warm though, so it's okay. But yeah, I need to get this done so I can cast on my next sweater, because I have sweaters quantity up the wazoo and I just need to get going on them. Okay. What's next? So I've done a little bit of spinning. I'll show. Here is the most recent 2021 Inglenook Fibre Countdown Calendar bump. I finished it. It's this very nice, like, blue, teal, blue-green, green, yellow-green. It's all the colors. It's got some red in there. It's got some orange. It's beautiful. It's sparkly. It's lovely. I just need to unwind it off the spindle so I can move on to the next one. And I'm a little bit over halfway done, I believe. So I probably won't show this again until I just freaking finish them all. And then I can start plying. And that's gonna be really exciting because I'm gonna mix and match these colors and they're gonna look so freaking cool. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I'll figure something out. Anyway, what else? I think that's all of my FOs. It's all of my whips. It's my spinning. I have some other spinning on the wheel, but it's a little bit too much work to grab the bobbin off of it. Like, I hate fiddling with like the wires and everything and then putting it back on. It's annoying to me. So maybe I'll throw a picture in here. What I've been doing is I have all these little fiber bumps from Into the World. It's basically, they had a scrap bag that they were selling at one point. And I'm just like spinning and spinning and spinning all of them on one bobbin to make kind of like a crazy Zauberball-esque type of yarn. So it's going to be all these crazy colors that don't necessarily match. And then I'm going to apply it together and it's going to be nuts. And I can't wait to see the final result, and then I will show it to you. So I think we are to the last segment, which is Stashquisitions. So it's been a little while since we've chatted. I swear I've been trying really hard not to buy yarn. It's not gone well because I have quite the stash. I have a lot of single skein sock yarns. And I really want to knit some of this stuff down before I add more friends to my fiber collection. But some things happened. So let me just confess and get it off my chest. Let's start with the most recent. Please hold. Okay. Pardon my noises. So when we went to the Cashmere Goat, they had some interesting yarns that I'd never seen before. The first one being this watercolor sock cone by Lina du Nord. Not a brand I've ever knit from before, but this is 75% Lana muslin free. Oh, this is Italian. So let me read the English. 75% wool, muslin free with chloro-free treatment, and 25% nylon. And if you can see that little sock there, that's how he's gonna knit up. So it's almost like if you've ever seen the Shirley Bryan kind of deconstructed fades, it's a little bit like that. So I got one with these outrageous like yellow, greens, and blue colors. Looks like there's even a tiny bit of like a lavender, like purplish in there as well. And it's on a cone, so that's cool. These are gonna be for me because I need more socks because I keep either felting, shrinking, or wearing holes in my hand knit socks. So my husband gets socks. Why shouldn't I get socks? I need socks too. So that's that. And then bulky or chunky or whatever this is yarn. They had some Malabrigo just like everywhere in baskets, I feel like. And I grabbed this one originally. So this is Malabrigo Noventa. This is their super bulky base, 100% superwash merino wool in the color Talisman. So, oh my God, can you even see how many colors are in this yarn? There's like navy, there's purple, there's orange, there's magenta, there's friggin' everything, and it's beautiful. And I have no idea, I'm probably gonna make like a chunky hat with it. Oh my God, it kind of matches my shawl. Like it was meant to be. Oh, just look at that. It's a single ply. It's lovely. It's amazing. And then just as I was getting into checkout with the cone in the one hand and the bulky in the other, this one, it was sitting in a basket and it just started screaming at me at the top of its lungs, and I couldn't look away. Plus it was like right in the sunlight and it was practically glowing like some sort of enchanted skein of yarn. And I couldn't. Like, this is even more vivid, like tealy blue than it's showing up on camera. But it's friggin' amazing. Again, probably another chunky hat. This one's called Fleur de Jade. So, or would that be Fleur de Jade? I don't know. But yeah, I can't wait to use this. I've been trying to find patterns, so if you know of any really nice chunky hat patterns, please let me know. But oh, just all the colors. Just deck me out in all the colors, but only the jewel toned, dark and moody colors. Okay, you can keep the bright stuff. I feel so fabulous right now. Anyway, so those are my purchases from a Cashmere Goat. And then Republica Unicornia had an update as well. She was doing some really neat like gradient things as well as just some normal yarn colors. So I bought a few things. Where did they go? Here they are. All right, so these are all on the BFL DK base. So first one we have is Hesitating Beauty. How fall is that? Look at that nice like burgundy and some gold and some brown and even like a greenish, like an ochre and some mustard. And I just thought, wouldn't that look nice with tea and oranges? I have no idea if I will knit these together, if I will separate them, but I just really liked how these paired together. Tea and oranges is just fabulous though. A lot of the same colors, but like without the huge streak of burgundy, and there's like kind of a taupey, yellowy, buttery color. I just thought, so fantastic. Her work is amazing. And then the third one I got, I feel like I'm in a mood lately because, yeah, this one is called Electric Mayhem. So we've got like some royal navy blues and some green and some like really bright, loud, like yellowy, chartreusey colors. It's amazing. These are going to be socks, and they're going to be the most fabulous socks. And maybe these two will kind of match, and that would be really amazing. I also purchased a bag because I have a really hard time resisting when it comes to the bags. I believe this is the XL sweater bag, or it might just be the normal size sweater bag. I'm not sure, but would you look at that? It's cats in a greenhouse, or like just with plants. I love it so much. And the inside is polka dots. And my husband gave me this pin. I don't remember where he got it, but it's a cat, and I just thought it needed to live on this bag. So, oh, also, owl plant pots. How can you go wrong? I mean, this bag is big enough to fit on my head, okay? And with room, okay? So, if you're not sure if this bag is big enough for you, it is. It is big enough. All right, pardon my shenanigans. I spent most of my vacation alone with nobody to talk to because my husband was at work for half the week, so I think I've gone a little bit crazy. All right, we're almost done. We're getting there. We have another yarn shop sort of near us, but not really. It's in Freeport. It's like an hour or so north. I bought a few things online. I got this by On the Round, which is a main dyer based out of Rockport. This beautiful, lovely tealy blue. I've got a color, okay? I've got a color scheme. It's locked and it's loaded. The reason I purchased this, it's a singles base, and I was hoping to work it into the fade that I am trying to accumulate. So I got 3 skeins. I think at least one more, and then I'll start looking for patterns. Not sure what, but there's that. And then Ash and Bumble had an update, and she has some rocking semi-solids. I really wanted to try her BFL silk base on her DK, but it was sold out, so I settled for the normal DK. But would you look at these colors? Like, This is called Ochre, and this is called Sapphire. And when I saw them in her post, like sitting together like this, I needed them. I got 3 of each. So, like, my first instinct was the pressed flowers shawl. But I'm not sure if I actually want to make that because I'm not sure if I would wear it. But I feel like it would be really amazing. So if not that, maybe I can find a pattern for like a striped sweater or something color work. I don't know. The issue with color work is I have the exact same amount of both colors, so I would need color work that essentially uses even amounts, and that's not usually the case with color work. But I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll just make 5,000 pairs of socks in these colors. Who knows? Time will tell, right? And then also from, sorry, I jumped ahead of myself because I got excited. Also from the Cashmere Goat, I purchased these Regia Perfect sock balls. So the first pair of socks that I ever knit for my husband were in this type of yarn, and they have held up for like 2 or 3 years now. I did have to mend them once, but otherwise they're still going strong. So this is a really tough, like sturdy, well-wearing wool. Like he machine washes his socks. We machine wash and then we line dry them or hang them to dry, whatever. So this one will knit up in that pattern. I can't see what I'm showing you. So okay, there we go. So hopefully you can see that. It's like a faux stranded type pattern. And then this one will knit up just like that. So these are going to be for him eventually. Man, this guy's getting a lot of socks. It's not fair. Who's going to knit socks for me? Nobody. I'm going to knit socks for me eventually. Maybe I should make bulky socks. Is that a thing? Because I feel like that would be so warm. What else? Okay, so I got a shit ton of this Samnas Garn alpaca wool. I used this for my colorwork cowl that I showed, I think, maybe in my first or second episode. I'm gonna make one for my husband because it is incredibly warm, and I think it will be good for him in the winter, like if he has to go out and snow blow, because you can like pretty much pull it up around your face, and the alpaca makes it so warm, and it's like windproof because of the stranded. Like that's the really great thing about stranded knitting, is all those extra strands in the back like really shore up any potential gaps between your stitches, and it just makes it like practically bulletproof. Not really, like don't go try to get shot in a knitted garment because it's not going to stop a bullet, but you know what I mean. It's hyperbole. Anyway, shut up, Lindsay. You're being an idiot. I bought a bunch of colors. I started with like 3 for what I would make his cowl in, but then I just kept adding them because I was like, well, maybe I want a cowl too. So I just got a bunch of colors. So the blue and the taupey color, and then I think the gray are gonna be his cowl. And then the other 3, I don't know. I just got them just because, so we'll see. But this wool is really soft. It is not scratchy at all. I can even have it like up against my face and it doesn't bother me, except for the fact that you kind of get alpaca hairs up your nose and in your mouth. So just beware of that. If that's not your thing, you might not want something that's over your face. All right, and last but not least, I have this lovely mohair by Hex Dye Works in the colorway Madame Pomfrey. Look at all the colors in that. So I have a friend that went to Iceland for a vacation, and I was like, hey, if you see any Icelandic yarn, grab something for me. She's a non-knitter. She doesn't do any of this stuff. So she walked into a yarn store and she was entirely overwhelmed. And she grabbed this, which, hey, it's still Icelandic yarn. It is mohair and silk, and it was dyed in Iceland. So like I said, still Icelandic. Not sure what I'll make with it, but it's a cool color. It's not something I would choose for myself, but that's okay because I still really like it. And one of the great things about having other people just like pick out random stuff for you is it forces you to go out of your comfort zone. So this is going to be paired with something, probably for a hat, but you know, maybe for a shawl. I could do that too. I was actually thinking, I have this skein in my deep stash, Ashen Bumble Forest Ultramarino Fingering. This is their Flowering Cactus colorway. Okay, so this is like a natural base with all these amazing pops of like green and purplish. And I think these could be something together. So I think we're gonna try that. We're gonna do something. Maybe a hat, maybe a cowl or a little shawl. Who the heck knows? But these, they're gonna make a great pair. I just know it. All right, so my last stash position is a book. I purchased this from the Woolly Thistle because they get me all the time with their freaking email ads, so I really need to just unsubscribe because they're making me buy things and I don't like it. But I like this book. It's Icelandic knits. 18 timeless Lopapesa sweater designs. Various designers have contributed to it. So a lot of these sweaters are made with Lopi. If that's not your thing because it's too darn scratchy, it's completely understandable. But it's got things like this. All of these gorgeous colorwork sweaters. And one of the things I like is that it tells you the yarn that it knit in. Also, the photography is really amazing. Like, look at this. How would you not want to live there? Like, I would love to live there. Look at those trees. And the dirt. And the woods. And the rocks. It's just amazing. Look at that sweater. That is a good looking sweater. I love a good sweater that covers my butt. I mean, who doesn't? I don't know. A lot of people are into crop sweaters lately. I don't think I can get on board with that. I like longer things. But yeah, we've got a lot of, oh yeah, I was saying. So one of the things I like is that it tells you what yarn it was knit in. So I'm learning about all these different brands of yarn that I wouldn't normally be learning about. So now when I go to find yarn for these sweaters, I can just be like, other than that Lopi, there's all these other options. So I like knowing my options. I like having lots of options. I'm just rambling at this point. I'm sorry. If you're still here, thank you. You have got to be some sort of saint because I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Look at that. Oh, and then there's like my most favorite one that I've seen so far. Oh, other than this scrappy cardigan. Like, look at the fit on that. Look at that. I like, not a lot of people like a boat net. I like how that kind of just like sits just barely on your shoulders. And then there's a pocket. It's got pockets. So, but the one I wanted to show you. Ha, here we go. It's got a hood. I've never made a sweater with a hood, but I really want to. And then look at that pattern on there. It reminds me of like that Stephen West shawl where he's got like the overlay on it. I don't know what it's called, but you know what I mean probably if you've seen it. So a lot of cool stuff in this book. Can't wait to figure out something to knit out of it. Eventually. Not yet. I have sweaters quantities to use, and I need to stop buying yarn for a minute because it's getting out of control. So yeah, that's all I got for you. So I think we're gonna end this. I'm gonna get to work on my sweater so I can finally wear it. I'm gonna take these skeins of yarn off because they're getting a little bit warm. So yeah, thank you for visiting with me. It's good to see you again. If you stayed with me the whole way, thank you so much, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.